Hi, everyone. Welcome again, or for the first time, to Regenerative Rising. Thank you, Struppy, for that beautiful, heartwarming welcome. Thank you, everyone, wherever in the world you are joining us from. And as we enter our beautiful circle of celebration and honoring the earth today, because it is Earth Day every day, may I request you to acknowledge the ground beneath your feet right now and take a deep breath. And we start with special regenerative poetry sprinklings. Even more special today because I'm going to read from the old new fashioned way of reading from a book. You remember physical books? So this one is from Alice Walker's poetry collection that I love, Taking the Arrow Out of the Heart. And this poem is called The World Rising, because here we are in Regenerative Rising. The world rising. The world rising can put an end to anything. The world rising can put an end to anything. The murder of children, whales, elephants, forests, oceans. Get up, roll over. On that part of you that will not welcome, recognize, encourage, or even see our rise. A compassionate role. We must be done with cruelty. Friends, we must be done with cruelty, especially to ourselves, to start again beaming like the sun fresh. But a role that shows we've reached the end of polite moves. We have reached the end of polite moves to repair and recreate the earth. And we will press hard on any part of us, even those we have loved, that insist on remaining oblivious and asleep. So maybe friends, awaken from our sleeps, parts of ourselves that are sleeping, parts of our loved ones that are sleeping, because our planet is burning, aching, wanting our partnership, our friendship, and our love for Regenerative Rising. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. With that, put the attention back on your feet, wherever you are, and tell the ground thanks in any way you like to thank the ground. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, this is Lucy.
Hi, Lucy.
Lucy. Hi. Lucy, young, wild, free spirit. She's all about making wishes come true. She's a very young, wild, and free lion who has created a plan to touch the sky with her friends. It's a game which all wishes come true, and there is only one condition, that they have to do it as a team. Lucy Games is all about singing her heart, and she encouraged her friends to do so too, to reach the sky. She has played a song and she is about to sing it to you. So now Lucy invites you to imagine being your favorite animal and sing along with her and with her friends. Hello, this is me. I know you are same as I am. I want to connect your heart for both to be one and free. I need to be happy inside, and you reclaim your voice once and for all. I guarantee you that will set you free, and nobody will hurt you again. I'll be here with you. We as one animal being free. Please say yes to you, say yes to both, because that's when we're brave enough to achieve our wish to touch the sky. We both as one animal free. We decided to be here now, present to live joyfully and bravely as we human beings experience pleasure. When I am around you, I will protect you and your wings. You and me both free, one animal being. Aww.
Mark, you're muted.
Lucy the lion-hearted, leads the procession right through the center of Regenera, the rising of this time and place, this space of being here now, with Stroopy, our wayward troubadour, strumming along to these beautiful songs. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to ask you now to reach out, hold out your hand, grab this thread that I'm handing to you, this red thread, Ariadne's thread, that has carried us through this epoch of epics. Here we are, woven together, weaving our songs so you can sing along. Are you ready? Are you ready to join us? All the citizens of Regenera? Let's take a look and see who's with us today here in the Regenaissance Fair. Let's see. Why, who's that? Who is that right there that's joined us? Please speak your name and share with us.
I am Francesco Equilatimus. I am the balancer of energy, the bringer of equality. I make sure that everyone is treated fairly among all of those living in Regenera.
Wonderful.
We share, many hands make light work, so nothing is hard labor. It's all from the mind to the hands, to the heart, through the eyes and the ears. Everyone is seen, everyone is heard. All songs, all poems, all notions of the mind. We are all brought together. Who will take the red thread next? Ah, I recognize Stephanie. Bring us your words.
I'm taking the thread that Mark has drawn here for us to hold, and this one is one thread of a spider web, beads moving along, all connected on a bigger thread of that spider web that we are all part of. So we can all feel that resonant frequency of the water that you are all playing on, that all the honey from all the gifts you're giving right in this water that gets spread out. So I'm trying to find the bigger one. I can pass the thread, but when we undulate the water, we can see all those beams and all those connections. Some we can barely even see. They're all there. They're all woven. We're all woven.
Yes,
Let's see.
Luna.
I pass the thread back to you.
Yes, I can see Jeet. Jeet might be disguised as a citizen of Regenera. Jeet, share with us. Who might you be?
Morning, everybody. I am Soom. I am present. I am patient. I am ever evolving, co-learning with our community. And I pledge to do everything I can for a better life for everybody. Thank you. I pass on the thread to Stephania again.
So, here we go on a journey today that's going to take you through the hearts and minds of those that have wandered here with us to Regenera Rising, the Regenaissance Fair, where we are together here. Remind us of the story that came through from generations ago. In the future, we know we're headed towards that future that is right now, here today. We've landed right here in Regenera Rising to share with you many, many stories. And in order to do that, I actually asked my good friend Antonio de las Huertas, gardener of the librarian of juicy words, our elder of etymology. So let's see who else we can bring in. Let's see, we have those that share mythos. We have those that share actually lots of different, where are we going? Nico. Let's see, we have Onken. Oh yes. He's got to share with us as a citizen.
Are you calling on me? No.
Oh no, we're looking at different cards here. We have the doer, and who dedicates, let's see, Ava Rose, the doer, lover, thinker, earthling, prankster, artist. She dedicates herself to doing her part in creating a world of justice, equality, and love for all beings on earth. Show up every day to show kindness, empathy, and respect to those who cross her. Take time to listen to the trees, bow to the ocean, and be the drop that creates a ripple. Ava Rose, she'll take us wherever we want to go. Who else do we have to share? Tiffany is the artisan. Tiffany, the creative, empathic, loving, truthful, ethereal. Tiffany, the torch. Join a bigger vision of a better future. Everyone can connect to each other openly in order to create transformation, to self-evolution, as well as better designed living systems. This is why we're here. Remembering all those before that have woven this thread. Minister Fuller has reminded us how important it is to weave together. We have the futurist, Harlan. What name can be bearing? Harlan Emil Regenera, Andromedan galactic evolutionary transformation agent. He is committed, dedicated, and pledges to do everything he can to create the new Earth of the most sacred beauty and divine harmony possible, where every human endeavor holds all life and the planet in the highest regard. Such is beauty, such is beauty. Let's give it one more here. That be but an leprechaun such as me. There in the genesis of all that beams came this story through that weaves us all together for generations and generations. As a matter of fact, today I was visited by Antonio, and this is what he reminded me of. If you could share my screen again, or take off the share screen so we can see what's come of me. A story that started long ago, the bookshelf that Antonio pointed me to, the book Footprints. And he asked me to read it to you because it's a story from long ago that carries us through. Are you ready? Here we go. Footprints follow us around as we all leave our mark in the air, sea, and ground. Footprints is a story about leaving impressions, how everyone leaves an impression, a footprint. Ducks make footprints, dog makes footprints, you leave a footprint, I leave a footprint. In the soft snow, we make footprints in the shifting sands. We make footprints after the water puddle we have jumped into. Look, my footprint is bigger than your footprint. And some footprints stay longer than others. For example, fossils. Fossils are really old footprints. And some footprints won't last so long, like the footprints we made in the sand at the beach that the waves washed away. With each new day begins a new set of footprints. A family leaves a lot of footprints, and a lot of families leave a bunch of footprints. Like a city, civilization, that's what culture is, a whole bunch of footprints. Different cultures have different religions with their footprints of different beliefs. There are those who forge the path of footprints that lead to wisdom, and those who seek their trails. Footprints tell us where we've come from and the direction in which we are going. There are people who read footprints like trackers and detectives. There are some people who chase out footprints of creatures they've never seen and aren't even sure they exist. Footprints show us how far we've gone, like the footprints on the moon. Meteors leave footprints, we call them craters. And the stars leave footprints, trails of light that tell us the story of the universe. Footprints is a story of looking, seeking, going someplace, finding something, exploring, and learning. Footprints is the story of the impression that we make on that journey. The letters in this story are like footprints. Words are footprints. The printed message is a footprint, a memory. We keep our memories walking with stories and photos and movies and bits and bytes. The stroke brush paints a trail to behold. How about music notes dancing on the page, running in your ears? Language is a lot of footprints, a map to help us understand each other. Footprints are like clues. Atoms leave footprints. DNA is a footprint with much to say, and the seed of a tree is a footprint to be. Dinosaurs left footprints. Glaciers leave footprints. There are natural footprints, for example, after the passing of a hurricane, or the river of lava creeping from volcanoes, and not so natural footprints, like the destruction caused by forests or our trails of trash, oil spills in the ocean, the hole in the ozone that we see. Footprints are impressions or marks, dents, or even scars. Some scars take longer to heal than others. Footprints. When we tread too heavy in wars, and we have to tread lightly over old landmines of hatred. Sometimes we don't realize we are leaving, like germs that get spread, or diseases that wander the world, hopping from thing to thing. Sometimes we try to cover up our footprints as out of sight, out of mind. And sometimes when we look back to try and read the footprints, it's not very clear where we have come from. History is a trail of footprints, and we all leave our footprints on that trail, all the while leaving impressions in the hearts and minds of others. And when the trail of footprints comes to an end, we wonder, where did they go? Making footprints can be like thinking of an idea, telling the story, which is just one impression of what footprints means to me. And that is a story from long ago, the future pulled us forward, to remember, to remind us we're here together in Regenaissance Rising, being to live. Of the Regenaissance. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to dancing with you today.
Mark, look what I found.
What's that? What have
It's
you
the
found?
red thread hanging around.
Beautiful, Stroopy. Of course, it's everywhere we go. And now, what I'd like to do is introduce you all to Melody. Melody is a bio-inspired kinetic architect and design scientist, knowing the significance of bio-inspiration, a car focused on kinetic architecture and adaptable structures for regenerative culture. In 2012, she set up a nonprofit, Altier, called Regenerative to present on kinetic structural systems and did variable awareness workshops on inspired from our nature and our own nature. Melody, welcome today. You want to take yourself off of mute so we can hear what you have to say.
Hello, everyone. I have the threads here that you drove to here. And I will really try to view today as I'm the viewer of the citizen of Regenerat. And I want to start today with the presentation of Bio-inspired design, Livingry. And the Bio-inspired design that I will explain about my 15 or mostly 20 years research. And then we will go to the New Art City interbeing representation of the Livingry space. And I'm starting with the slide show first. I hope everything is clear and seen well.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we will talk about bio-inspired design, and when we are talking, it will be an interactive slideshow, hopefully, in some parts. And I have to check the time. And this is the way that we are creating our footprints, fingerprints into the world all together. And the world is biodiversity, and we are all in the system, one with nature, one for earth, with hearts by hearing, with art. And now we will take a journey of personal fact that I come to the point of the importance of design when I was in Japan in 2007. And I was really looking for the link between person and ecology, community and site, and lifestyle and nature. And the design came into the point, into the center, with the locality, efficiency, utility, accessibility, sustainability, consistency. And at that time, I was not so sure. I didn't know what is the flower of life, but I was dreaming and designing and thinking in this way. And it is for revolution and now the word is changing to regeneration and design. And after a while, I come to the wonderful motto or quote from Jen and Benyus that the biggest design challenge is finding the way how creators did till today without destroying the place that will take care of their offspring and regenerate the place that they are in and hold together, be together. So this is really the biggest design challenge that I was really dealing and really dedicating myself into. And then I take nature as model, nature as measure, and nature as mentor. And this is really totally the link between science and art with my wonders, with my purposes, with my research. And mostly, 3 years ago, I really get peace with my artist side because I was really looking as a scientific way more than the link between them. And as we know that life creates conditions conducive to life, so we have 3.8 billion years that is a living system, and they are all around us that we can really learn. And for sustainable development goals, we can put the nature's principles inside that is really a sustainable way of thinking. So first of all, I really want to start with tree of life. So as you see here, there are so many, we are all connected. And I come to the video of one Zoom link. What is all life? All coming from a center and all linked together. And when we write human there, it is really going deeper, 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 somewhere there. And some close relations, some important connections, some regenerations. And this is really the fractal of the understanding, three-dimensional fractal, let's say. And so this is all linking in life. So that's why it's really important to find the way how creatures did till today without destroying the place that will take care of their offspring. So in this one, so we will start a little bit the connections with nature and technology. I'm sorry with the spelling there. So I was really like in Japan, I was really asking, what is technology? So it's the place to ask that question, I guess. And I understand that it's coming from techne logic. So techne, I'm not sure if I'm spelling right, but technique, but it's really crafting. And so we need to be logically while crafting. And we have so many things to learn from nature that we can craft and build into our world as nature is doing. So there are so many examples called biomimicry, and in biomimicry there are life principles behind them. And so are they really understanding the need of the cars, or the need of the consumption of the gas, or need of the mechanical usage that how nature is doing? So in this one, like in this dragonfly, so this fly's wings, like I guess 1,000 times in a second, and it's so thin, and it is resilience. So how can it manage that? It is managing it by doing a sensation and sending some weight on the end of the wings. So there is a really strategy behind the needs, and why the Delian have that shape and have that really light connections while spreading around, and why as a child it is really important to really play with them. And fern plants, sorry. And they are really the oldest plants in the world. And when you see them, you can understand that there is so much oxygen there. And in here, we have so many things that are connected, underground, upper ground. There are so many things that we can see the links between them. And so there are beetles, morpho butterflies, myceliums, white bark pines, and we can learn so many things from them. Build structures, harvesting energies, managing sunlight, thermoregulation, and most importantly, supporting communities. So some questions occurs like, so the mussels, how they really engage in water and how they stick together in water without any chemical usage, and how fireflies manage this light without any electricity or any other thing. So we can learn the systems, the strategies that can be inspired and really for eco-consciousness, and how spider webs collect water. So it's really the nodal spaces that collect, that are really serving for the collection of water. And how the storks fly without any navigational panels, how they do that. And I just learned that they just fly, not in the shortest journey, they are doing the efficient journey with the really understanding the wind and the weather conditions. And it's not the important, the shortest, it is important, the efficiency. And as you see here, peacock, right? I'm maybe wrong. So in this one, I was really amazed when I learned that there is only one pigment of color, which is brown. And all the other wonderful colors that we see are because of the structure of these feathers. So because of the structures, they create this harmony. And we are not the only ones that use the tools, and they have a purpose to use that tools. And as you see here, like there are so many kinds of and diverse kinds of birds, and their beaks are really for a reason there. So the design of a parrot's beak is because they are eating fruits. And because of this way of creating a beak is because it's nectar feeding. And that kind, it is grain eating. So we have so many different solutions for design. So as Albert Einstein said, look deep into nature and then you will understand everything better. There are so many different stories that developed, so many designs that we are using in our lives. I'm not going deep on these ones. So as you see here, like the Kingfisher and the Shinkansen train. So it is like 1981 or something, 1989. So it's really using, and by inspiration is totally from our being in the life process in our life, but learning from nature and applying this into our designs are really needs eco-conscious way of approach with economy, ecology, social, cultural, and whole system thinking. So this is one from my terrace, and he was asking me like, what's going on today? So I was really amazed while I see a bee was making circles when they're collecting pollens. They are not griddle. They are really serving for an efficiency. And they don't have a plan on their hands, of course, but why they are doing hexagons. And there are so many reasons behind that. So I want to ask all of you for just be with this question for like maybe 30 seconds or maybe 1 minute. If we understand and apply nature's chemistry, physics, and mathematics, how would the world be for you? So I will be really glad when you are ready to put your answer into the chat all together at once. And I will look at it later because I don't have the open window, and I will be really appreciate if we share there. If we understand and apply nature's chemistry, physics, and mathematics, and all integration, how would the world be for us? So we are all designers, we design our lives, and that's the focus that I really want to put into this presentation. What kind of a place would our living spaces and our world will be, with production systems compatible with our nature, aligned with our nature, self-sufficient, waste-free, cycling, creating maximum efficiency with minimum materials, and so much. And I would love to hear your answers. As Buckminster Fuller said, it is now highly feasible to take care of everybody on Earth at a higher standard of living than any have ever known. It is no longer has to be you or me. Selfishness is unnecessary. War is absolute. It is a matter of converting the high technology from weaponry to living. And as we know, nature is a really wonderful builder and space maker, viewer. It is clued that in Machu Picchu, even there are the earthquakes, the way of the arrangement of the rocks is efficient for the earthquake, and it is really connecting with the earth. And we can learn so many different structural systems that are really taking of the environment that they are in. And as Julian Vincent mentioned, natural structures are successfully efficient not only by their minimal energy configurations with less material usage, but also their minimum effects by their interactions on our environments. So I was really trying to understand our wonderful beings like Leonardo da Vinci, architect Sinan, and their relationship with their environment, with their understandings. And Buckminster Fuller, Fray Otto, Dawoodi, they have really trying to understand the structural systems behind to make lightweight structures, efficient structures, less material structures. And as in, they are not just the space, they are also creating understanding of the era. So in this geodesic dome, so it is a design, it is a eco-design center in Canada, in Toronto. And I mixed the place. Okay, so when you go there, and they are asking you if you come with car or bicycle or by train. So if you come by train or bicycle, you got less price for the entrance of the ticket. So it's really designing the whole system. And in that one, I was really surprised that there is a LEED certificate building there. And as you see here, and the lady there said to me, at least there is something. So it's really important to, at most, to think something. And Calatrava and Michael Pollan has really inspired me so much by their way of thinking the structures, and Michael Pollan as form, system, and structure correlation. So I have been into passive buildings, and I have seen so many chemical materials, but some understanding of eco-conscious in somehow. And from my bachelor degree, I'm following the eco-design festivals. And in that one, I really learned the biology of building. And there are 25 main principles that we need to think about. And in our design science studio, I really use this slide with my students. Spaces really architect the mind. So what to architect around? So this is my question, what I focused on in my life, how nature build up sufficient, efficient, and sustainable structures. And I look to the understanding of living and non-living, and this in the thinner line between them, and cells, and the cell membrane that creates the living systems. And as we have talked so many times as structure is the main entity for all living and non-living systems. So that's why I focused on the structures, as especially kinetic structures, for searching for the dynamic equilibrium. And I learned so much with the organization of cell and the production of cell membrane. And at that time in 2009, I was dreaming about using the living city systemic and for quality of life. And it was just like so long ago, and the transformational flexible patterns in that time. And I really focused on the living city systems, which I was really inspired by Buckminster Fuller's research, Otto's research. And I asked the question, how human build up efficient and sustainable structures? So it's really important point is, which we don't really have that opportunity in our education systems. So it's really experiencing, feeling, sensing, really using our bodies into what we are searching for. And as we see, as we know, the tensegrity systems that are have opportunity to balance each other. And how does nature build up? And there are so many correlations with macro to micro. And the most importantly, from Vitruvius, who is the writer of the 10 books of architecture. So utilitas, venustas, and firmitas for durable, adaptable, and sustainable systems. Usability, durability, and beauty. So in that case, as Buckminster Fuller said, I'm not trying to imitate nature. I'm trying to find the principles she's using. So there are 9 basic principles of biomimicry. Nature runs on sunlight, uses only the energy it needs, fits form to function, and both correlations, recycles everything, rewards cooperation, banks on diversity, demands local expertise, curbs excesses from within, taps the power of limits. And we can add so many and really clear findings with our understanding also. And I presented, and what is my really ambitious is, it's not just the science, matter of science, it is also a matter of art and science, which is existence. So I developed the bio-inspired node for variable, adaptable, stable, and kinetic structures, and with a philosophy, research process, product design, and application. And I was really searching for adaptable structures which are incremental, reversible, deformable, mobile, and disposable, as a cell membrane is. And when I understand the linking systems behind them, I come to the point of the linking explanations and synergetics of Buckminster Fuller and Flower of Life. And I was really searching, is it possible to make cube and dodecahedron stable, even they are not stable in the Platonic solids explanations? And as Bucky have already highlighted me with this system, so I tried and developed a system that can make them stable and also resistance to earthquake, hopefully. And so I have researched so many different structures, and I came to a point of, by regenerating systems and adding and incrementing, so these structures are from 2D to 3D managed to be built up. And they are called biotolls, biologically organized triangle of life, and with less material usage for economic, ecologic, and efficient building systems. So as you see here, so it's just a little bit of explanation that can be built for the libraries, for our design studios. And this is the vision that I'm on for a long time. And I have been building up with the earth elements and with natural materials that really teach me by my fingerprints there, or footprints also. So they're really wonderful to be connected with nature. And in a design understanding, like how the water is coming from the tap of the kitchen and going and there, soluting with the water that is needed. So it's really, the nature is behind the structure and function correlation in really designing way. And also the elemental cycles that we also told with the body integration yesterday with Brian. So it's really important to think about the circulations of all the elements. And I just want to say, like, they are really important networks also as global eco-village networks, which creates conditions conducive to life with a community building. So it's really important, like how they manage these thinkings and communities is really a big clue. So I just want to say, like, as we are also building eco-villages, so there are 6,000 communities in 114 countries right now in the world, and that are really intuitively serve for Earth. And this is the community's gathering reason. So it can be scaled from citizenship to regions. So we are just the designers to build up this. So the high qualities of life. And they are really serving for the sustainable development goals, and scientifically proven that. And it's a really amazing photo, like from Tamera, so 2006. And you see when they just align with nature and design a system behind that, just in 3 years, all the space turned into a quality of life. And another example from Egypt, from 1978 to 2015. It's amazing the change by just design decisions. So I'm a global eco-village networks sustainable designer and also permaculture designer. So I'm really taking this into my world because it's whole system thinking with universal design and problem solving, and with following the design principles and nature's principles, all integrated in cycle. And there are so many tools that I'm using to develop, and this is especially that I'm composting for 6 years right now in Istanbul. And I just found out that when you look good to something and when you intensively do something, then the regeneration comes from it, because the worms came by themselves there. So, and they are making my soil and composting more fluid, more efficient right now. So, and this is one of my structure that I developed also. And for today, Regenera is a big, big, big gathering space for me. And I'm really happy with all of you to be together and spacing and architecting the spaces with our spaces. And I'm really inspired with these ones. And so these are the connections, and Harekethane is my place name, which is the motion of the kinetic dwelling, and the motional place, space, so which is called like Bio-Inspired Design Science Lab when I opened it in 2012. So to feel the unity, all parts need to feel the wholeness as well. So this is the thing that connects everything else. So learning how to see by Leonardo da Vinci. So now we will have a little tour, because I have like 4 minutes into living Re. So it is totally connecting the flower of life. So nature's way of iteration and repetition, from micro to macro, from unseen to the seen, from our body to our environment. We are the part of this flower of life. And we will see in living Re some life forms. And now I'm skipping to that one. So welcome to our interbeing space. So this is the place that we create with all Design Science Studio members, cohorts this year. And this is the living Re. And from below, yeah. So it is not a space that I really want to build up, but it is the understanding of how nature is connecting with our bodies and all the systems. So duality of life, eyes. The center of life, eye. The tree of life, seed. The flower of life, seed holder. The field of life. The pelvis of life. The brain of life. The heart of life. The lung of life, the liver of life, the yin yang of life, the hand of life, the womb of life, the shelter of life, and the stoma of life. So, duality into one. Welcome on board. And I have one more thing that I wanna share with you. I really wonder about the chats. And this is the Padlet that I really want all of you to put your recommendations or like your feedbacks, because nature is going on feedbacks. And in the right side of the Padlet, there is plus button. So when you just press the plus button, another window is opening. And I will be really appreciated if you share your ideas from there with me.
Do you want to
And I have
share so we can see it?
Sorry? Okay, of course. And so this is the Padlet. And for just clicking this one, when you open that one, for just clicking this one, you will open and you can write whatever you want and publish it. And when we can read each of others and put some likes there. Thank you so much. And I just want to hear like 2 more minutes. Any questions, any feedbacks?
Hey, Melody, thank you so much for that absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful presentation. As a bio-inspired poet artist, your whole presentation was making me sing, and I was thinking, wow, how did Melody get inside my being and just mirror this beautiful presentation? I have one very quick question for you, and then could I request Roxy or anybody, could we make a breakout room where Melody can take other questions in the interest of time? So one question is, Melody, for those of us listening now or later, what is one of the biggest recommendations you'd make for us to, practically imbibe bio-inspired design in our life, as much as we are part of the biome, but are a lot of us in this time in the world? What would be one of your biggest recommendations, or of tiniest, because tiny things are also big things?
Yeah, totally. In my life, really, what makes you excited? Just focus on that firstly, because it's our bio-inspired inspirational connection. And the second thing that I really want to say, like, composting is a wonderful thing to start with, because we are really connecting with what you consume and what you take out. And it's really easy. I just started with a big pot. That's all that I started. So, and it was like 5 years in that. So it's really amazing that how you started to be seeing how the change of the soil and the quality of soil. And I think it's really important that we connect and regenerate our soil and souls.
Yes, our soul soil. Thank you. I do see Harlan has a question. Harlan, may I request you to keep the question for the breakout room, which somebody will just assist us in making, so we can keep going on the schedule.
If it is possible, if anybody can just link me from chat, because I don't want to go to separate the system. And so that's the thing that I'm really sorry for everybody. I just want to need like connection, so it will be really more heartful for me. Totally.
Beautiful. So you are heard. We are heard. Please, could you connect one-on-one with Melody so that you can have really heartful, in-depth conversation, and we can keep our packed schedule on time. Thank you. Really appreciate. And
I know you're behind schedule, but I'm just going to throw into the chat because it relates. I'll do the question in the breakout, but I'm launching as part of my design launch week all these videos. So if anyone's interested and I want to have, anyway, I'm going to put in the chat.
Please, yes, sounds good, Harlan. Please do. We do want to hear and receive that. So thank you so much. So with here, can you hear me? Yep. Okay, great. So with that, wonderful soaking in all the bio designs. It is time for a heartful, deep, inhaling Regenera poetry pause before our next wonderful speaker on the roster. So Melody's presentation has been really speaking to me for so many reasons, starting from the tree of life to the birds we saw in Murmuration. And I want to share this poem. Let me share my screen with this image. I want to share this poem with all of you, which is inspired by the magnificent patterns that birds make. You know, I am absolutely in love and obsessed, mystified with murmurations. You know, all kind of both, I feel, systematic, rule-breaking, rule-following, artistic brushstrokes that birds make in the sky. So I want to offer in our Regenera Poetry Pause this poem, which is actually called Flying Poem Murmurs, Sustainability Lessons from Bird Teachers. So this is the beauty of our Regenera Rising universe, that Melody and I could have planned this, but we didn't because this is the playing field we have here and how we carry this vision train together. So thank you for receiving this poem, everybody. Here we go. Flying Poem Murmurs, Sustainability Lessons from Bird Teachers. Murmur, murmur noun, a hum, muttering, rushing, related to Sanskrit marmara, crackling fire. Murmuration, a large group of birds that fly together in magnificent, mysterious patterns, changing direction together, or the act of birds doing this. These are not words. These are birds flowing in primordial murmurs that insist on a quest to exist in changing skies through a world on fire. These are not birds. These are birds rising tiny ink feathers, morphing into a mighty fist that is the power of many dots coming together. These are not words. These are birds knowing how to freedom ballet with proximity and distance that protects the whole without squishing the dance of individual soul. These are not words. These are birds meditating on the art of unhoarding for a lightness of being that survives the heavy weight of gravity. These are not words. These are birds remembering how to sing in a natural resonance with Mother Earth's magnetic compass by using their intergenerational GPS. These are not words. These are birds, shape-shifting survival with an ability to listen to not only the biggest, the loudest, but also the softest, the smallest. These are not words. These are birds molting old feathers of our deadweight habits that must be shed to have a chance for life to revive. These are not words. These are birds revealing alphabets of kinship, struggle, survival that is out in the open for all to see, if only we can relearn how to be. So friends, thank you so much for murmuring together in this beautiful festival that is Regenera Rising. This poem is related to the ripples of my DSS project, Ancient Tree Futures Reimagined, because guess whose home are trees? Birds' homes. And I feel also relating to what Melody was so beautifully talking about, this continuum of the land and earth and gravity and intergalactic being. So this poem was really born of reading the science, geometry, spiritual ecology of what makes birds fly in these magnificent patterns. So I really appreciate you all receiving that and for fluttering together with us. As now I want to welcome, after a deep breath, can we take a deep breath? So with a deep breath and a lot of love, I welcome with us Melissa Lockwood. Let's see, can we have Melissa with us on the screen, please? Welcome, Melissa.
Hello.
Hey there. So everyone, I'm so delighted to introduce Melissa, incredible interdisciplinary artist. Melissa has focused her work on raising awareness about ways that fashion industry fabric waste can be reduced. Her immediate forum is on a method she developed that can help fashion designers use their block pattern waste fabric area to create for garments in a way that lessen the landfill waste. And as a lover of fashion and as a lover of sustainability, Melissa, thank you for being with us. And please do share about your life's work that is woven into the flutters of Regenera. Welcome.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm an evolutionary intermediate artist in the design science studio. My lifelong focus so far has been keeping things in use. I am dedicated to keep objects in the use stream. You hear a lot about the waste stream, garbage, single use, disposable, landfills, recycling, but for Earth's benefit, it is becoming important, and it is the time that we make non-polluting things and keep existing things in use. I research ways to keep things in use. I have salvaged many kinds of objects during my lifetime, keeping them in use. This current project can lower fashion industry waste fabrics and create more clothing and less pollution. I know this because I can remember what I saw in the future. in the past, and how the earth will be saved and peace will arrive. Here in this video is an example of a specific way fashion designers can help the earth. In this video, I will show you how designers can design into the pattern block waist areas. This is a block pattern for a pair of shorts and a jacket with a hood. My production is to make 10 jackets and 10 pairs of shorts and to utilize the spaces in between. And so this is an example of a skirt that's designed with this off-cut remnant shape. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And then this is another one. This shape gets thrown away usually, and this is a skirt. Here's another one, another skirt. You can see that shape, and then it's there. And I'm actually making some of these wider by using the off-cut outer edge remnants that are cut off the spreads of fabric so that it can be squared onto the fabric grain. Here's another one. This weird shape made this skirt. I've actually made the life-size garments now, and they're all working out fine and wearable. Yeah, so this is another one, and this. So these are all unique skirts. This is another one that's made out of like one of these pieces, like this piece and this piece. I just sewed them together. Yeah, I didn't put the color highlight on there. This is a dress that can be made with these off-cut remnants that are usually cut off of all the sides of the fabric. This is another one that combines a remnant shape and then an off-cut outside edge scrap. I just put it sewed them together, and it made a top that can go with any of these skirts. There's even here's another skirt, and this is the only one where I modified the shape at all. To make this skirt radial with the opening at the top, I snipped off a little bit, and this could be, you know, sewn on the tips off of that to make a cute little thing, and it doesn't take that long. So this is how I'm doing it, just like finding those shapes, using their multiples. So with my block pattern, making 10 shorts and 10 jackets, that leaves me 20 of each of these. 20 of each of these, and so it took 20 of these to make this skirt. And the interesting thing is that all these skirts are the same size as the shorts and the jacket. Here's another skirt made with a block pattern waist. Skirt made with the block pattern waist. Skirt made with block pattern waist. Skirt made with block pattern waist. Shorts made from the block pattern that I made the skirts from. This is a dress from block pattern waist. This is a block pattern waist top and the pants design that created the block pattern that this fabric was waist from. All of these garments are made with salvaged fabric. These garments are made with fabric that I found discarded at garment manufacturing factories. Many of them are made from the same shape pattern pieces that come from the block pattern waist area. Those are the ones you see that are, you know, these odd shapes, but they're often quite beautiful garments. I also worked with the garment scrap that is a long, narrow strip that's cut off the edges of the block, off the fabric, so the block pattern can be placed squared on the grain. Yeah, so those are the ones that have the kind of spiral, long, tubular kind of, you know, dress forms. you can see a lot of triangles, a lot of trapezoids, a lot of shapes that come. These type of black pattern waste parts that get thrown into the landfill are generated worldwide. The process that I described earlier in the video, where the pieces between the standard pattern areas, if those are used to make garments, it will lower the fabric industry, garment industry waste fabrics a lot. Yeah, I found it really straightforward. Like if you can, predetermine, these usages in the pattern making process, usually people just disregarded the parts between their normal pattern areas, but I've proven that it's possible to design with those waste fabric pattern areas. Yes, all those were made with fabrics that were pulled right out of fashion industry waste containers. So if anyone has any questions, or we can move on.
I just want to say that this is so inspiring and such beautiful work. And yeah, if you happen to have your designs available, we all want to buy them. Okay.
Oh, you can go to iqtest-nyc.com and it will take you to a store that I have online, or if you go to Arizona to Arco Santi, you can see them in the gallery there, or you can contact me and I have a few different places to connect to those. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Is there anything else that you want to share, or ways that people can support you or get involved?
Oh, just don't throw away your garments. Not that you are, but even try to upcycle them. That's really important. Even dropping them off at a thrift store, you're not really sure if that's gonna really get put back into the Ustream, or they'll consider it's a rag garment, not their store's type. But yeah, just keep things in use. If you go to auctions, you can get everything at the end of the auction. They usually throw it away unless it's like a high-end art auction. My main message is just keep things in use to help lower pollution. Thank you, Design Science Studio. I thoroughly am grateful for this opportunity and the time I'm sharing with you.
Yes, thanks.
Are you in part of this?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which speaker we're supposed to go through. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing. And it's I don't know if you noticed, I'm wearing my Melissa creation right now because it's so comfortable, and it's so great to know that I'm wearing something that's just sustainable and created by someone in our community. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
that's so comfy.
Yeah, we have another one of our textile specialists coming up to join the conversation. We have Jeet, and Jeet, Jeet is a textile and fashion designer. He's self-taught tie-dye shibori artisan. And after working in the corporate fashion houses for a couple of years, Jeet realized that there's hardly anything sustainable and ethical about mass-produced fast fashion. He quit that job and indulged himself in developing handcrafted, artisan-made, personalized, wearable art and space decor. And I always love how your background looks, and seeing your art floating in the breeze is always beautiful. So yeah, why don't you share, and then we can have a little conversation between you and Melissa.
Thank you, Bliss, for introducing me, and thank you, Design Science Studio, for having me here. So today we're gonna talk about upcycling and sustainable fashion, continuing through Melissa's thread, and I'm gonna share this presentation. All right, so we call it the Carnival of Colors. This is something how the Carnival of Colors would look like. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the big F word, that's fast fashion, which is mass-produced and trend-driven, which exploits humans, materials, energy, and environment throughout the life cycle of the product. It focuses on cost-cutting and profit maximization, and which is achieved by cheaply made, low-quality products. It promotes overconsumption culture and leads to waste colonization of low-income countries in Africa and Asia after the clothes are rejected by the global north. Another thing is greenwashing. That is like a thing with the fast fashion brands. They call it sustainable and made from organic materials, which hardly is the case in reality. This is what our closets, most of our closets look like, with clothes that we do not wear or are just lying there at the back of the closet because of numerous reasons. Some of the reasons, maybe the clothes are slightly damaged, they're a little bit torn, maybe they're stained a bit, maybe they're discolored, maybe you feel that it's out of fashion and you can't wear it anymore, or it doesn't fit you, or it has a certain sentimental value for you. It impacts hugely on the environment. It has societal impacts on a global scale, considering that only 12% of the material used for clothing ends up being recycled. So when we talk about recycling, it's when a product is considered to be as waste, as opposed to upcycling, when we convert this so-called waste into a usable product. All of the things that we sometimes put in boxes like these might end up into low-income countries, wherein it's a very labor-intensive job for that person to sort these clothings, because most of the fashion today is made out of blended materials, natural and synthetic, and they are of numerous colors and prints. So, recycling becomes like a really difficult job, and it's not really cost effective. And in the end, a lot of fabric, since it's cheaply made and breaks down quickly, so the only option left is to shred it down to pieces, which kind of reduces the fiber length, and hence you cannot make new garments or good fabric out of it. And finally, it gets ended up in the landfills, or it gets burned, which is even worse. So what can we do about this? Of course, it starts by buying less and buying local, supporting artisan-made fashion and textiles, supporting the slow fashion movement. We can always rewear our clothes, mend them if they are ripped or torn a little bit, reuse whatever we already own. It's good to have awareness of what sustainable natural materials are. Recycle, share, and donate locally through thrift stores or vintage stores, and ask ethical questions to fast fashion brands. As opposed to this, slow fashion is handmade, mostly handcrafted, made to order, bespoke, and timeless rather than being trend-driven. Products are made with an awareness of the material resources and processes. It cherishes indigenous cultures and craftsmanship, advocates buying better quality garments that last longer, considers sustainable product life cycle from creation to compost, emphasizes on reducing consumption and production, promotes collaboration from local to global, and hence empowers makers as well as consumers in terms of the information of who made our clothes, how they were made, and where it was made. So supporting this movement, here we come, we are the Upcycle Tribe, and we are hosting the Carnival of Colors, which is basically a collaboration. We in the Upcycle Tribe, we are a collaboration of professional designers, artists, seamstresses, and co-creators. And we are here to celebrate the transition from old to new and from waste to value. These are local community drives that we conduct to collect used and unused clothing. We learn techniques of mending and hand dyeing, redesigning fabric and apparels through a variety of workshops. We have talks on sustainable material selection and prepping the clothes before putting them into the recycle bin if they are at all cannot be used anymore. There are some traditional ways that clothes have always been upcycled, especially in the eastern part of the world. There's a technique called kantha or sujani or panjadari, which are indigenous embroidery and quilting techniques. These are practiced in Bengal, in Rajasthan, and a lot of parts in India, and are generally made by layering old fabrics, generally saris and dhotis, with linear stitches to make blankets, mats, and other artistic textiles. Another method would be patchworking, wherein bits of fabrics are stitched together to make a new fabric and create new garments, bags, home decor, and blankets. Another technique is a dyeing technique called shibori, or what we call tie-dyeing in the rest of the world. It's a resist dyeing technique that emerged for the class in the feudal Japan as an affordable technique to renew old and damaged clothes. Here's a video of a 5-year-old t-shirt that was faded, and I just felt like it needed a new re-dyeing. This is the same t-shirt that I'm wearing today, and it's one of my favorite t-shirts now. Here's an example of a vintage silk kurta that I borrowed from my uncle's closet. It was ripped at places and needed some love. And it felt really satisfying to mend the rips, re-dye it, and then have some details added on. This is what I wore a little later on a wedding. Here's a backpack that was made out of 2 heavyweight vintage denim shorts that belonged to my dad, which we never wore because it was so heavy to be worn as comfortable shorts. And I found it perfect to be a backpack. I re-dyed them, I hand sew them, and embellished them with drawstrings, Velcro pockets, tie-dyed lining, and hand sketch details. With this, let's have a talk on sustainability. I would like to call upon Melissa one more time here to have a little informative conversation on sustainability and materials, processes, and how can we prep the fabric or apparels for upcycling.
Hi, Jeet. Thanks for inviting me.
Great. So the subject matter today would be, let's start with sustainable materials to begin with. As we know, nothing can be as sustainable as natural materials because polyester, which is a synthetic material, or nylon would end up, whenever we wash a synthetic material, it leaves behind microfibers that are washed in the stream and then end up in the ecosystem, and hence becomes a part of it because it never really degrades in our lifetime, at least. So it's better to always be aware of what materials we are buying while we are buying new things or even like thrift things. Something that Melissa introduced us to was the waste stream to the use stream, and how Melissa uses textile waste for zero waste fashion. Can you talk a little bit about that, Melissa?
Yes, of course. Something that I researched about polyester a long time ago is that in the landfill, they predict that it would take 1,000 years to decompose and not turning into anything nice or useful or good. So recently I've heard about people making rag rugs. Like you can hand braid it and yeah, so like that's one thing for polyester. But as far as my focus on fashion industry waste, fabrics, it is possible to find those fabrics, you know, until designers transition over to incorporating that potentially, you know, it's useful. I've tested, it works, but you can get those pieces of same shape fabric scraps at salvage stores and places like that, but you just apply radial projection to these same shape pieces, and they're longer pieces and wider at one end, and it just makes a cylinder. Basically, the factory waste, you know, the approach that I've taken is all radial projection. So any fashion designers that are creating in mass, they can apply that radial projection to their offcut because it's created in enormous amounts of same shape pieces.
Wow, that's truly amazing. It's really nice to hear about that process. Then we can come to textile processing, because it takes a lot of resources and energy while we are processing textiles. Right from the beginning, when we are like after the weaving, or even like at the yarn stage, the yarn is washed multiple times, scoured, we call it scouring. Then it is bleached to remove any kind of a coloring on it, a natural coloring. So it is bleached with chemicals. And all of this process takes a lot of water consumption. And the whole process of textile to garments has a lot of fossil fuel, you know, intake into the process and adds up to the carbon footprints hence. So, so once the textile is made, the garment is made, and it comes to the consumers, we use it till its usable life. And what if you don't have the skills to upcycle it, or or the garment is just not usable enough to be upcycled? How can you recycle it in a proper way? Now, one thing is, even the 100% cotton t-shirt is not really 100% cotton, because the sewing threads that are used for sewing the garments, they are made of synthetic fibers. They are polyester threads. So that will stay in the stream, even though it is getting upcycled. Plus, when we are talking about a denim, it has spandex in it. So it is not like a natural material again, or some people call it lycra. Then there are things like zippers, there are tags, there are labels, a variety of labels that you see in your garments, which are like wash care labels and all those different kinds of labels that are made of synthetic materials. And so, yeah, we should make a point that we cut these labels or take these labels off, take the zipper off as much as possible to segregate the materials. So it becomes easier.
You want to go help them pull the RV in.
It becomes easier for the recycler to recycle the garment. Another thing is about second-hand salvage fabrics and trims. So, Melissa, would you like to elaborate on this point?
Right, and then we'll go and say hello.
I would love to, but I could not hear the last little part with Miriam's sound going simultaneously. But
Yes,
I can
I'll talk about it again maybe.
I think I caught up with it somehow. Things like removing buttons and taking off zippers and deconstructing and taking the parts off of existing garments that have deteriorated beyond wearability. If those parts are intact, you can cut those off. Just leave a little extra fabric around, donate it to a charity shop, a thrift store, and there are now upcycling stores. There are stores that keep things in use. So unless you reiterate, I lost track a little bit at the very bit of.
Yes, that's a great point that you made. You know, like we could always send these things, the trims that we call zippers, the buttons, and all those things to a thrift store, wherein designers like us who are inclined towards upcycling and making new from the old, they can use these functional zippers and buttons again into their designs and probably make newer products with them. So in the end, I would like to say it is very difficult to be 100% sustainable, especially when it comes to fashion. Although we can be aware about the materials and the processes, and hence reduce our impact on the planet.
I would say it's just a really important thing, and I love your work, and I really love how inspiring it can be and how detailed and how you think about conserving the materials by like not making big batches of dye. Maybe you put it into something that you can put it on there, like a syringe, or your work is really thoughtful and in your transformations. But yeah, thank you. Very inspiring.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Yes, that is another point, because in the industry, how we dye fabrics is we have huge batches of fabrics, and which is dyed in a big machine full of gallons and gallons of water and dye material and chemicals that goes inside dyeing, and this huge amount of clothing, fabric, or even garments. So in our case, I just make dyes as per the particular design. So I'm not like making too much. And even if I'm left with some dye, I always make it a point to make something creative out of it, not throwing it out in the wash basin maybe.
I could give one quick, simple upcycling example if there's time.
Sure, of course.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to just, without any visuals, because everybody pretty much knows what a t-shirt is. You can make a really simple skirt or a kilt with a t-shirt. All you do is flip it. You flip it upside down, so the waistband is now the bottom of the t-shirt is the waistband, but you cut across the sleeves. You cut open the sleeves, and and then they're open, and you can slide it on. And if you want a really quick skirt, you just snip down the side and tie it if you have no sewing machine. And so you have a wearable, beach item, or after shower item, or out in public item. But that's really easy. You just turn the shirt upside down, cut across, the arm openings, and just pull it on, tie it on. Or you can sew up the sides, making it narrower. There's a really simple upcycling.
Amazing, amazing. I just love your work, Melissa. It's truly inspiring for me, and I'm sure a lot of people are so inspired by your work. And this last slide is an example of what I made using waste dye, or dye that was left after my clothing experiment. And thank you so much for being present and listening to us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was.
Does anybody have any questions or would like to ponder with Jeet, Melissa, what they're thinking at the moment?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and, like give you a direction. If you are interested in upcycling your garment, if you have like a lot of some clothing in your closet, if you want to turn it into something new, you can always get in touch with me or Melissa, and we could definitely give you an idea of how you can do that. Totally.
We have Jarno and Stroopy. Jarno, jump right in.
Hi guys, thank you very much. I'm so inspired. I didn't know about the depth of your involvement in textiles and the stuff you've already done. I also studied textile design, always been changing every piece of clothing that had a label on it that I didn't want to be associated with. I would put something else on it. And I just want to show you my 20-year-old jeans. I've had them for 20 years. And every time they get a hole, I just put a different piece of fabric underneath. And the new hole comes, and then I put another piece of fabric. There we got some, also waste fabric. Well, that zebra bit's rubbed off. And they're 20 years old, and someone called me Rod Stewart, but I thought, why not, So they're really old. And just because it's waste fabric, I found it in Malaysia. They're from the batik cut-offs. They just made these beautiful triangles. They folded these triangles, and then they made this beautiful rug. And I've had this a long time, and it's really feels really good and looks beautiful, and it's recycled. So I just wanted to show that if anyone's inspired, this could even become a business venture with refugees or whatever, or people who can sew. Anybody can do that in their part of the world. It's very easy, and it looks beautiful, and it's good. So I just wanted to share that.
That is so amazing, Arno. And what you showed there, it is something that my mom makes too. She uses old textile to make rugs, something like that. She also makes little mats from old textiles and saris and, like drapes. So yeah, that's so fascinating. And the part of world that we live in, especially India, and I think in all of East, like you said, you got that from Malaysia. I think there's a custom that we do not really throw anything, it's never the intention to throw out if we have an old thing, it has a life cycle of its own during our usability, right? You wear a garment, then when it gets old, you cut it down, you make it into a new product. When that gets old, it ultimately transforms into something that you wipe things with. That's the end. That's the end of that particular product until it's like not usable at all, and it's like shredded totally. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's so amazing.
Jump on in. Oh, sorry, Melissa, if you have something that you want to respond to. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna tell Jarno that I loved seeing the jeans that you have kept in use for so long, and I love that kind of thing, and the rug also. I love it. Thank you for sharing this.
Stroopy, are you there? I know you wanted to share something.
Yeah, I wanted just a quick add-on, so to speak, because Jeet, you spoke of the waste that even is happening as the plant is turned into fabric in terms of cotton mostly. Like, it's incredible the amount of water that goes into a single t-shirt. It's just like you can't wrap your mind around that. And it's even more so because we have alternatives to that. And one of the oldest fiber plants is hemp, which is, the fabric is lasting for ages. It does not need as much water. It grows almost everywhere. It grows seeds that can feed people on the side. It has a long list of additional uses. and it does not take any chemicals to process the fiber to make fabric or paper of it. And talking of the paper, before the Europeans learned how to make paper from wood and stuff, they were using rug paper. So the only reason the old books are still around that were after vellum is because they were not made of wood paper, but of hemp and linen. So there was people walking around and they were very poor, and their job was to collect the rugs from people, like rags, not rugs, everything that people didn't wear anymore. So they were ground and turned into paper. And I think this is another level that we can kind of keep in mind of another use, even, you know, if the paper has been ground, the fiber, so you can't really use it for fabric anymore. We can even turn it into paper and go on from there.
Wow, that's amazing, Struby. You totally gave a really good point, which I missed on while presenting. Because yeah, I mean, the cotton industry, and I think before the industrialization age, a lot of places on our planet, we were using hemp as a primary fiber, and we were using hemp for almost everything. I think, you know, from fabric to paper to construction, and we have to just relearn all those things back again. I think, you know, and stop just consume things that are more sustainable, I feel.
And also pay attention to those people who've built up that knowledge again, because the story of hemp is a very, very special one. You know, what happened to it, and the kind of prohibition out of profit and stuff. And what is going on for the last couple of decades is that people have been creating new industries around it against all odds, given the status of the plant. And there is a lot of stuff that has already been done. And, you know, people don't have all the might in the world, right? There is big corporations and stuff, but the little that we can choose with the money that we spend on the things that we buy and wear, we can direct that to these kinds of sources where something is, you know, amplified that really makes a difference and helps in the long run.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so difficult to bring hemp. I mean, we are trying it in India, like with some of people that I know, but it's so difficult because they generally relate hemp now to cannabis. Although these two plants are so different, even though they look the same, they are like different genes, right?
No, they are the same plant. It's just that there has been a manufactured prohibition on the aspects of the plant that are used as medicine, and they were enforced by the nylon industry, the wood industry because of paper, and the prison industry because it's a good way to get people in prison. And if prisons are profit oriented, there you go. And the same plant that is called cannabis is, you know, cannabis is just the plant itself. And today we have kinds of the plant, like types of the plants that are low on the THC side. So those are called industrial hemp, but it's the same plant. And if you plant it again and again, it regenerates its own being. So, you know, there's a lot to be said about this stuff, but just to keep it in mind, I think is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Thank you so much, Struby, for your valuable input. Thank you, Jarno, and thank you, Melissa. So, who are we introducing next?
I think our Regenaissance spirit animal is about to appear.
Ooh, spirit animal. Watch out. Ooh, hello. Hi, friends. Good to see you. I put on my one of my favorite thrifted shirts for you. It's actually a big magical dress. I am so grateful that we've gotten to have
this revolutionary conversation on the Regenaissance Fair Day, because at the Regenaissance Fair, we have to have cute outfits. But, you know, not at the expense of the earth, not at the expense of more waste, and not at the expense of creating more waste streams. And so I love what you were saying, Melissa, also about not contributing to the waste stream. And I think between the two of you, I hope that everyone has really felt deeply inspired of that there are many pathways. And I've been thinking a lot about how much I want to do like a deep design immersion with my sustainable fashion industry comrades so that we can get people and bring their hands. Oh, there's another one. La la! La la! I'm here, I swear. She's here, she's first. Our wonderful garment made by Melissa. So that, you know, I think there's something about experiential learning that's so critical. It's until you finally like touch the earth or, you know, put your hands in the paint or, you know, start to really create that value shifting in the way that we're relating to the material, and the opportunity also to how we can have what your other project is doing also, Jeet, which is the sustainable craft villages, looking at in village, who are the people who love upcycling and how do we have, you know, community reinvigoration of the village and cities and towns where we say, okay, and people now they do, you know, swap piles. So maybe they do a swap meet and they have like an entire, like, let's repurpose and reuse and create beautiful things out of each other's things. And then maybe we, you know, can help breathe new life to things that are already beautiful and inspire others of a new way of being. So thanks for being such magnificent role models of Regenera and encouraging us all to have fabulous Regenaissance Fair outfits as we move our way through creatively expressing ourselves in this world and doing so in a way that encourages a culture of care and also continuing to give life to things that have been made and moving away from this obsession with the new and maybe encouraging an enchantment with the renew. So I am delighted that we've had this time and reaching to your comrades and friends. And I'm going to welcome John Crawford to the stage for a moment as we transition. Keep your eyes peeled, by the way, everyone, because Melissa will be doing a few upcycling workshops. We'll get to see Jeet's Sustainable Craft Village and also Melissa's installations in the different virtual worlds. So keep your eyes peeled on the upcoming schedule. And speaking of the upcoming schedule, I'm going to invite our friend John Crawford here, a visionary of the Design Science Studio and a dear friend who is hosting a session that will start in 5 minutes. So John, I'm happy to screen share and put the links in the chat, but I wanted to invite you here so everyone knows what's going on and they can pop over there if they want to go.
Wonderful. Can you hear me okay?
Sounds great.
Good. So thanks so much, Roxy, and everyone. Great to be here. I am always so happy to be part of a global confluence for creators of regenerative futures. And speaking of regenerative futures, I feel it's extremely important to make sure that art and art making has its rightful place in this discussion. And that's why I'm so excited that Design Science Studio has made it possible for so many amazing artists, emerging artists, established artists, people who are emerging and established to be part of this Design Science Studio activity, thinking more broadly, but also focused specifically on Regenera Rising and involving art in that process. And so to that end, I want to introduce you to a whole collection of international artists that I've been working with, some of them for almost 20 years, looking at ways that we can make performing arts, often involving music, dance, and projected visuals together in an international context. And over the past 2 years, we weren't able to get together in person like we usually do. So we did a series of online concerts that were developed collaboratively over a distance, people working together remotely. And I'm so excited to announce that on May 23rd of 2022, coming right up, we are having our first live concert in several years in New York City at the National Opera Center. So what I'm about to introduce online using the link that you can see there is a session with some of these creators, people I've worked with and feel very close to. And I'm so thrilled that they'll be able to discuss their concepts, their backgrounds, and how these works are coming together. And best of all, we'll be showing excerpts of 8 of the pieces that will be in the concert. So I do invite you to join us. I think it'll be stimulating and a real eye-opener for people who have never seen this kind of work before. And for some of you, I know it'll feel really familiar and right down the alley that many of you are already working in. So everything we'll be showing is a combination of dance, music, and filmmaking together in a really interesting melange. The event is called In the Liminal Space, and our preview is called Intermediate Interventions, and it starts in about 2 minutes.
Thank you, John. I really hope that you all pop over there, and I look forward to also seeing the recording and these little previews. If I didn't have to be in here, I would definitely go check it out. I might be one of those people with 2 devices for the next hour, but yeah, definitely recommend everyone, if you're interested, to have a sneak peek into this incredible collective of creators who have been collaborating for so long. The link is in the chat to learn more about the event, and the direct link to join the Zoom is also in the chat. And right after that, feel free to pop back on over here. And with that, John, I will send you off into the ether because you have a session that starts in 2 minutes, and I'll do a little bit of a preview of other things.
Sounds good. Thanks, Roxy. Bye for now, everybody.
Amazing. Yay, that's fun. Okay, great. So definitely recommend going and checking that out. It's going to be pretty spectacular. And now I'm going to give a little bit of an orientation, because if you are new to the platform and you haven't really explored too deeply the things that are coming up, it's a good thing to do. So first I'm going to share in the chat the direct link to the platform. This is the event link, the schedule link that you get whenever you are popping in. And first, we're going to watch a tutorial from Vincent, our Revolutionary of the Design Science Studio, who is showing us around, explaining how the platform works and how to make sure not to miss anything. And then I will speak to a few of the things that we have coming up in addition to the one we just heard about. But yeah, if you are interested in John's session, which I highly recommend going to, I would pop over to the Zoom link that's in the chat right now, and then come back here. So without further ado, let's watch a bit of the tutorial about the platform, and then I'll talk about some of the upcoming sessions.
Either scroll down the page or use a purple bar at the top to jump to the section that you're looking for. Each event has different sections that are turned on and off. The Happening Now section shows everything currently going on, with a quick way to either join the session or to preview what is happening. The Check-in Map is a module for virtual conferences, which allows attendees to see where everyone is calling in from. You can click on the different cards to see people's responses and where they checked in from, or you can click on them to see their response in a pop-up window and cycle through by clicking Next. The featured section is a way to showcase different speakers or presenters at a specific event. The agenda shows all the different sub-events for multi-session and multi-day conferences. There are lots of other sections, such as sponsors, related events, and comments. But let's dive into the agenda. This event is the Regenerative Rising launch for the Design Science Studio. Pretty awesome. Each event has different views at the top right corner. The gallery view is best for exploration. The long card view is my personal favorite, which shows topics as well as the different stages. The list view is designed for a quick glance and easy ability to find events listed in chronological order. The calendar view gives a big picture view of the entire week for a multi-day event. And last, the timeline view. The timeline view is a detailed agenda that allows you to see events that are happening at the same time. You can also toggle between week or day view to be able to zoom in and see everything that's happening for the specific day that you're interested in. For all these views, you can change the way that the events are searched and filtered. For example, you can filter by topics. These filters will filter across all the different views. You'll be able to see that there are 5 events between April 21st and May 1st which have these topics. You can click on the X to remove any topic filters. You can also search by the session category and session types, for example, workshops. Each one of these views allows you to click on the particular cards and see a preview of what's happening with the date, information, as well as ways to either share, join the session if it's in progress, or add it to your calendar. These cards will also have the related information, such as participants or related events.
My mouse keeps getting lost. Like, where did it go? Cool. So that's a little bit about catalysts. Hopefully everyone's able to navigate smoothly. Good. So far, so good, because we haven't had many complaints, which I'm thrilled by. So I'm going to share a little bit about what's coming up. And again, what I'm putting in the chat is what I'm going to show, and we can look at some of the upcoming sessions from the amazing community of this confluence of creators of regenerative futures. So here we are, here and now. We see that this intermediate intervention session just started. This is the only session during the Choose Your Own Adventure today that's in a different room. So definitely just kicked off and recommend checking it out. This is a group of, if you just joined the room, for intermediate, interdisciplinary, very established, passionate artists who are working at the intersection of ecology, climate, movement, embodiment, and emerging art forms. Just after I'm done with a little bit of orientation, we get to tune into the news. So this is going to be the Now Sphere, our time weather news report on the energy of the day. So for a brief moment in time, we will enter this sphere and we will connect with an innovative, experimental, imagined application of an ancient indigenous practice and concept of date keeping. So that we
orient ourselves to where we are in the space-time continuum today and tune into the noosphere. So that's happening in about 9 minutes. And then we're going to have a reggae performance. Pretty exciting. This is Rocker T. It's going to be here in the vision train, giving us a little bit of time and space to move our bodies and get into the groove on this Sunday afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And then our very own David Bloom, also known as Oaken, who is in the Design Science Studio, is going to be hosting a conversation around collaborate with us to design a future that inspires and empowers discussion. So this session will feature some of the voices of the Design Science Studio, and it will be a really special space of emergence with a bunch of brilliant revolutionaries who are committed to being spokes beings and facilitators for ensuring a livable future to the children in our lives and the future generations, knowing that there is an important piece that lies in creating community. So, as we know, we have more support together than apart. United we stand. This is going to be a really special session. After that, we will tune in with our very own leprechaun, Marksman, and we will beam from Regeneration. And this space will be nurturing the story seeds of a multitude of perspectives who are all helping to move us towards this future that works for all life. And it is brought to you by the Fat Casting Evolutionary Alliance mediums, presented by our very own Leprechaun Ken. So that will be in here from 3:05 to 3:25 Pacific. This should be showing up in your time zone. Then we have an artist from the Vision Train who will be hosting a session called Gyrokinesis, which is a holistic movement exercise that will address the entire body as a multidimensional gyroscopic breathing organism. So this is a blend of dance, tai chi, yoga, and movement and engaging with tensegrity. Cool, we love tensegrity. If you don't know what tensegrity is, I'm sure a few of our fellow evolutionaries community members can tell you in the chat. It's definitely a Bucky inspired phrase, and that integrity created by tensile forces working together. I actually remember we did this little design sprint, one of our design sprints leading up to this summit, and Stroopy shared about this beautiful moment right before one of the final pieces of the tensegrity structure would go up, and the last limb was like one of the hardest to kind of get in place. But once it was in place, everything flowed. And so that was a kind of a bit of a feeling as we were arriving towards this amazing Regenerative Rising Summit, which we're only 4 days into. Please bring your friends. We're so grateful and excited to be amplifying and uplifting and celebrating the Regenaissance together. So that we'll have a little holistic movement, and then our very own Ruby from Regeneration will welcome us back into the space, the hexagon of the city, to share some wisdom and learning. So tune in for Ruby, and then we'll kick off our planetary salon second session in about 3 hours, and that will start off with a showcase of Alexandra Isalievich, who is going to be sharing their artist presentation all about finding her connective thread through the wisdom of the I Ching. And definitely recommend checking this out. It is really amazing to see the way that Alexandra has taken this incredible system of trigrams and hexagrams of the I Ching and made them come to life through art and connection to animals and ourselves and so much more. So This is a process, and we will get to see behind the curtain a little bit and learn about Alexandra's amazing work. And then we will hear from Stephen Bao. Stephen Bao is going to present his theory of everything by starting with Mark Wagnon's assertion that matter is a derivative of consciousness, and adding Einstein's equation connecting metaphysical elements of the human experience to physical living systems. He has found some really interesting pattern recognition and a bit of a theory of everything in visual form. So we'll get to do a deep dive into that. We'll hear from a regenerative citizen whose birthday it is today, Francesco Equalimitas, the scientist who will share about the Regenaissance, a true Regenaissance man. We'll get to hear from some of the founders of the Design Science Studio, and then we will do a United We Stand for Peace meditation and 542. So stay on board the train. One of the next things that I wanted to share before we hear the news is a friendly message from another regenerative citizen who reminds us to remember as members of a larger body, how we can show up, to reimagine what does consent look like, and how do we rise in a life-affirming way as collaborators and co-creators on this beautiful glowing city in this time. So we'll hear from Martin Marlowe, and then we will tune in to the news.
Welcome to Regenera, where our ideas build the city, and those ideas work for 100% of all life. My name is Margie, and I will be your guardian of consent today. Here on Regenera and beyond, many hands can create a space of safety and love as we are all here together creating this container. An excellent way to continue to cultivate any space, especially a floating city, is to center consent. Consent is beyond permission. It takes into account that every human, every piece of life on Earth has some sort of voice and deserves choices that cultivate a container of agency around oneself and any interaction. Consent is something that we engage in every day, from making decisions with friends, to asking someone for a hug, to telling someone no, and even to choose not to litter. While consent is something that we engage in every day, we also engage in non-consensual systems every day, such as capitalism, white supremacy, the patriarchy, and any system that forces us to participate in order to maintain power. The Earth is regularly forgotten in conversations around consent and boundaries. How are we not listening to the Earth's boundaries when the Earth holds the most power of all? At its core, consent is regenerative. It is infinite and something that we can practice with one another and the planet every single day. It is freely given, uncoerced, and non-exclusive. It asks the question of, where do I hold power when I navigate this place? And how do I empower the agency of others with the power that I do have? As creators, change makers, artists, activists, teachers, and students, we must act with integrity, accountability, and love in our hearts as we usher in a new era. Love is also a regenerative gift that we give each other. Love has been commodified and has been placed in a box as something that is finite, when in reality, we can act in love every day, whenever we want, and love and consent are caring acts. It is both tangible and intangible. It is infinite. Love is a cornerstone in the foundation of Regenera. Digital boundaries are a newer and more nuanced sector of how consent operates. How will we continue to support one another in this space today as we meet globally across cultures on the internet? As we enter this space of questioning, discovery, and learning today, I encourage us all to get out of our comfort zones and to learn new concepts. Growth begins at the edge of your comfort zone, and sometimes emotional activation can be the vital tonic that we need to learn something new. I also encourage everyone to take care of yourselves and to take care of others today while engaging online. Together, we can create a new world that works for 100% of all life. I hope that you gain some new skills, engage with some incredible art, and enjoy the journey of Regenera Rising.
Thank you, Margie, for beaming that to us. Roxy, hello. And is there anything else you want to share before we go on to the Beamcast?
Nope.
Okay.
Looking forward to the news today.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, here we are beaming live from the Regenaissance Fair. And today's news, direct from the noosphere, is brought to you by Shant Almeta, who weaves dreams upon the warp and loom of space and time, harmonizing the energetic threads of seemingly contrasting frequencies into a synthesized tapestry of scientific art and galactic culture, shamanically initiated by the mysteries of the universe, specializing in the imaginative use of storytelling, movement, sound, and light. He is currently on Earth here as a galactic emissary to practically implement visions of peace, harmony, health, and healing. Welcome today, Shant. What can you tell us about today's news and how we can sense into the world?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm really grateful to be here. And I'm just going to set up here and share the news of the day.
As you do it this time, can you click the share audio so we hear the audio from the inside?
Definitely, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The amazing thing about the noosphere is long ago, we didn't have all this technology and we were able to beam directly from our hearts. And now we're learning again what it means to beam.
It says restore your audio. Okay, can you hear now?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Cool. Okay, so welcome to the Natural Order Operating System for a time weather report. Just a brief primer of what a time weather report is. There's an idea that we're transitioning from the biosphere into the noosphere, biosphere being all of life, a planet, and the noosphere being a conscious planetary mind. And we're in the middle phase of the technosphere. So this process is helping us transition from 1260 mechanized time of hours, 60 minutes, to 1320 natural time that's based on the body and nature. So time can be known as the atmosphere of the mind. And so the idea with the time weather report is that if we can order our time, order our mind, thus we can more harmoniously order space. So we'll be sharing a calendar system, which is kind of like an operating system that is aligned to the synchronic order. And the synchronic order is basically like where synchronicities and miracles happen. So today's date is April 24th, 2022 Gregorian, and in this other calendar system, which aligns to the star Sirius, which makes it galactic, it's the 34th year, 10th moon month, and 21st day. We'll be entering the now sphere now, the natural order weather sphere of 4D galactic solar time. As an overview, we'll start off with, there'll be two calendars. One is the solar calendar, and the second is the galactic calendar, and these overlap. We'll start off with the solar calendar with the energy of the year, smaller increments of energy, and then we'll go into the galactic calendar, and talk about the 13-day cycle of that and the energy of today specifically. So just as a way for this to be helpful and beneficial to you, this probably is all really new and a lot to take in. So we recommend just taking it easy, relaxing, and just notice which words or symbols resonate with your being. The ultimate intention is to have this information support your well-being, provide some useful guidance, potential for synchronicity, so that you can tap into your highest and best self. So these are the two calendars. This is the 13 moon solar calendar, 13 moon, 28 day. They're all equal lengths each moon months, and that's what makes it harmonious, is that it's ordered rather than different lengths. And then here's the 260-day galactic calendar. We'll start with the solar calendar. So the energy of this year is the yellow electric seed. So starting July 26th of last year and until July 24th of this year, we've been activating ourselves and targeting our awareness to flower our intentions, have them come into expression, all for the purpose of service. And we've been doing this through elegance and creativity, and that's what's kind of the guiding energy of this year. So this is going to be with us until July, the seed, and the electric seed. We're in the 10th moon month, and the chronology to the moon month, they build upon each other, and the 10th month is the planetary moon. It's all about where action, challenge, and the question that we're answering in this 28-day cycle is, how do I perfect what I do? And we're looking at essences of manifestation and the actions of producing and perfecting. So it really makes sense that the culmination of the Design Science Studio is happening now, because it's the ultimate manifestation of what we've been doing for the last 8 to 9 months. So that's a synchronicity. We're in the 3rd week of this month. It's the blue heptad. This system cycles through 4 colors: red, white, blue, yellow, and they have a system to them. The 3rd color is all about patience transforming conduct. So that's what the general wisdom of this week has been. And the theme of it is all about how we purify ourselves through enlightenment. And each day of the week has a different energy. We're on the last day, and it cycles through our chakras like these plasmas, because it's aligned to galactic plasmas. And so the 7th day aligns with our heart chakra. So you may notice your heart chakra more activated today. So now the galactic cycle, the 260-day galactic cycle, which is based on 13 tones and 20 symbols, archetypal symbols. And yesterday we started a brand new 13-day cycle of the blue eagle, which is all about mind, creating, and vision. And as you could see, it's fractal. So we had the 13 months that had this pattern, and we also have 13 days that have this pattern. So there's a fractal nature to it. That's what is also harmonious about it. The first day was about purpose. That was yesterday. Today is about challenge. So we're identifying what is challenging for us in these next 13 days. So if we come upon any challenges today, just notice that the energy of the day, and that can help you get through it. So finally, the actual energy of today is the yellow lunar warrior. So the lunar energy is what brings in challenge and polarization, And in this process, we can stabilize by recognizing the two poles and finding our place within it. And then cross that with the Lunar Warrior. Sorry, that's not the one. The Warrior's energy is all about fearlessness, questioning, and intelligence. So the Warrior uses their intelligence to question things and make fearless choices as a result. So a simple way to put it is that may the yellow Lunar Warrior help us step out of duality by facing our fears and looking into things fearlessly so that we can take the next step. And we're guided by creativity, so look for creativity throughout the day to inspire you to this fearlessness. A couple of questions that can be helpful for today. What are my relationships teaching me? What are my obstacles? And in which ways has it been difficult for me to be fearless to pursue my goals? So when you get a chance, ask these questions, tune in with yourself, and notice how you can face your goals, what's challenging in your relationships and in your life, and be fearless. And today's Regenera theme is the Regenaissance Fair. So we're taking a fearless look at all the ways that our current paradigm can be upgraded, and we can come into a regenerative and creative artistic expression. Our guide is the creativity, so we're being guided by this creative potential of the Regenaissance. Thank you to these sources which I use to present today's time weather report, including the source energy and Hans Zimmer. And this is brought to you by the News of the Natural Order. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. So nice. An echo out here in the noosphere. There we go. Okay, so Shant has presented a way for us to take our inner temperature, a way for us to weave together this commons of mind. We're beaming to you live from the Regenaissance Fair with Shant and the New News. You'll be joining us throughout the week, and we'll be beaming later this afternoon. And we've got Roxy here to continue us on this path that we are so joyously on.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Leprechaun Kin. I feel reoriented in my place in the cosmos. Thank you. That was a gift. I know that takes a lot of care and thought to put together, so thank you for helping us tune into the news. And we have, in the opportunity that you shared with us to, come back into center and kind of approach challenges with civility. I think that hopefully the music that's coming up will help to really drive that home for everyone. And I want to invite you to give yourself the gift of time to move your body, to get up and boogie and celebrate. You are a revolutionary creator. You are a supporter of a world that works for all of life. You deserve to play. So we are joined by Rocker T, who is going to play some reggae. So we're gonna close the live stream, bring everyone in. And I wanted to say hi, Toby Kitty. Do you want to say anything before
check,
we
check,
close?
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Good, yes.
Hi, fam. Blessed love. Blessed love. Namaste. Salam to everyone. Big blessed love to everyone. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. Regenaissance. Wow. Big up Vision Train crew, all brethren, all sisters, brothers, kings, queens, devis, babas. Blessed love. Jai Mata Di Ki. Jai Bholenath.